So yeah, just to kind of give a breakdown of what we're all about here, we are we're coming together to celebrate creators and builders in Solana NFTs. We want to bring together two communities: the generative collection community and the one-of-one art community. We want to share those communities together and show each other what we're doing. We want people to be excited about what the one-of-one art community is doing, and excited about what maybe some OG projects have been building, but maybe you haven't heard about because the hype isn't there. It isn't as loud because it's not pre-mint. So that's kind of what we're about. We want to celebrate what these people are building in these spaces and just talk to people and hear their stories. So this will be kind of the format goes. We're going to interview Neil for about 15, 20 minutes, and we're going to jump over to Nate Baker from Skeleton Crew and hear about that project. And we're going to try to just make it concise. We want to value your time to try to bring as much info about these people and projects in a short amount of time as possible. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We welcome to the first episode of Solana NFTs. Let's do it. I'm your co-host Ronin, Solana NFT degenerate, occasional tweeter of threads, and chief WAGMI officer of the upcoming Psychopomp comics.
And I'm your co-host, Scotty.D.Russell. I am a full-time side hustle coach in the Web 2 space, converting a lot of that over here to the Web 3. But currently, I am just side hustling my own art and love for crypto in this Web 3 space, and kind of just building a bridge for me to bring as many creators over to the space as possible.
Right on. Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Neil, why don't you go ahead and unmute, my friend, and welcome to Solana NFTs Twitter space. How you doing this morning?
Hello, good morning. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be on with you all, and excited to be part of the first show.
Yes, sir. We're super stoked to have you. You and Scotty know each other. You guys go back, right?
Yeah, it's we've been internet friends for a while now. I think
2016, 2017, maybe.
Yeah, wow. Something all the way back to the Sean West community. I think that's where we first kind of connected.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing you first come on, and then I remember seeing Scotty saying, "Oh, this is someone I know. Come check him out." But obviously, Neil, you've had a ton of early success in Solana NFT 101 art, doing amazing work. What got you into the Solana NFT space, though, if I might ask?
Well, I mean, I think probably I want to say the beginning of 2021, I'd kind of heard, kind of rumblings and more people talking about NFTs, and I'd looked into it and was kind of didn't really know what to do with it, so I kind of left it alone and just kind of walked away from it for a while, and then I started to see some more people in kind of the design space getting into NFT projects and stuff like that. So I started to look into it more, probably towards the end of August, which my first entry point was looking into the Ethereum space and all of that, because that was kind of what's more mainstream, and trying to figure out where I kind of fit in with all of that and where I could actually do something. And kind of during my process of just kind of learning about NFTs and figuring out how the whole space and community and just the mechanics of it all worked, I ended up crossing paths with John Lay in a space, and we've had some kind of previous familiarity from years back as well, from when I dabbled in a little bit of creative streaming on Twitch. So we had a little bit of a relationship and rapport from then, and we had kind of started talking in DMs because I saw that he was in the NFT space as well, and he's the one that kind of clued me in on exchange art and kind of what was happening in the one-on-one Solana space, and then just kind of dove in from there, just kind of learning and trying to connect with people in the space.
That guy's a legend. So
Yeah,
cool.
I think he just showed up too.
Oh, nice. Good morning.
Oh,
John.
GM. Hey, Neil, if I could, man, because
Yeah.
you and I cross paths. We have a lot of kind of the same circle in like the Web2 space, you know, the Instagram days, the conference scene, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are kind of frustrated, or they believe the myth that you need like a big old audience, you know, in order to gain traction in this space. And I would love if you could kind of just speak toward your time of building in the Web2 Instagram grind, and maybe some of the trials and hurdles that you experienced along the way, and then how you just had like a fresh, clean start of building from scratch over here in Web3. I feel like that would be pretty inspiring, because I know it hasn't always been easy for you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, from I think I kind of got into sharing my artwork on Instagram and uh, you know, kind of casually posting on Twitter as an afterthought. But yeah, just trying to um, put my work out there on Instagram, and I think I've really probably trying to grow there. Probably early 2015, 16, around there. I think at that point it was already getting pretty saturated with, a lot of people coming in and posting their work, and a lot of it just kind of felt like I was just kind of sending it out into the abyss, and getting some, but not very much engagement, and not a lot of kind of not a lot of growth for what I felt like the work kind of being put in. I think that was also a combination of it being hard to kind of grow and gain traction in that space, but also at that stage I was still experimenting a lot and kind of figuring out and refining my skill set and my process, and overall kind of working towards working towards I think what I'm doing now with my work. And it was that whole time was kind of build. I feel like even though kind of I struggled through that early stage, I was kind of building up to this point, which I'm finally at the point where I feel like I am able to technically execute my creative visions, and then that kind of crossed paths really well with what we're able to do in the Web3 and NFT space. Um, but I mean, coming into the Web3 space, I had maybe over 100 people on Twitter, and at that, pretty minimal to zero engagement. But I was able to kind of come into the space and just start seeing what other people were doing and just connecting with people and interacting with them and engaging, while I kind of worked on my own artwork and in the background for my first collection, and just trying to taking that time while I was working on my work and just seeing what everyone else was doing, engaging with the community, and just trying to be a positive member in that space, so that um, when I did come out and put up my first work for auction, that I had already built some relationships in the community.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it's just crazy how fast you can really build a community in Solana NFTs and in this space. It's just been crazy to see, followerships go through the roof so fast. And I mean, obviously, when you're putting together amazing art like you've been able to create, people are going to want to follow that. People are going to want to buy that. So kudos to you, sir. I'm going to hit you with a kind of two-parter, kind of question that goes together, two questions that go together. Like, I noticed on your bio and in your website, it talks about you're telling stories through illustration.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also a lot of your art is about a balance, or the stuff that you've posted on Solana so far is the balance of nature and technology. So I was just curious to hear from you, like why that stuff's meaningful to you about creating these stories through your art, and what you're trying to say with the balance of nature and technology.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, just generally, whether it's kind of a one-off illustration or something like I'm working on now, where it's a series, I try and have at least some sort of kind of story or narrative in my mind when I'm creating. It helps me kind of get in the head of whatever the subject matter is that I'm creating, and kind of helps inform me on what kind of needs to be in the artwork. And this current series that I'm doing, the first piece that kind of sparked the idea for this series on the balance of technology and nature was the first piece that I did for that was plugged in. And initially that was going to be kind of a one-off piece, but it kind of it was that one was kind of focused around that feeling of being just kind of plugged into technology, kind of sucked into everything that's happening virtually, and how all consuming that can be, and just kind of your surrounding world kind of fades away. And especially in the at that time when I was really just diving in and trying to consume as much about the Web3 space to learn everything, that was very much the case of I kind of felt just kind of jacked into my computer and my phone and everything like that. So I felt the need for the ability to kind of be contemplative and have some balance between that, which kind of kind of sparked the idea for the series, which then followed by the poll, and then ultimately the balance, which was you know just continuing to explore that narrative there. But yeah, in general, I've been really inspired by this series, just for that need for having that balance in my personal life, and then from that kind of initial spark of concept, continuing to explore this world is just kind of keeps getting bigger and bigger as I work on pieces and kind of envisioning what that might be like, even though maybe some of the pieces as I get away from the initial three pieces might not be as concentrated focus on that balance, but yeah, just continuing to kind of pull on that thread and see where it takes me.
I was wondering if I could ask you, for me and like working with creatives over the years, there's power and constraints. And I would love to hear you kind of talk about what kind of constraints you use. You clearly have a theme and some storytelling that you go around. I know you leverage like typically the same brushes through Garm Company, our mutual friend Amir Grocase. Can you kind of talk about how do you leverage certain constraints in terms of times, medium, style, color, whatever it is? How do you use those to advantage? And do you ever feel limited, like, damn, I got an idea, but it doesn't fit into this story or this realm that I'm building within like the technology and nature theme? Can you kind of speak towards that a little bit? And just like the power, how constraints have helped you? Because I know people are out there like, damn, I don't even know where to start. Too many ideas. How do I pick a lane?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. For me, it's doing more of this kind of really illustrative, coming from a design background, doing this kind of more illustrative style was you know kind of daunting, and I could never really kind of execute how what I was envisioning. But so I've kind of as far as like I've kind of figured out kind of a concise process and in order of kind of creating the work that I think also. So I'll start with I'll sketch out and Procreate, but then I'll move to inking in Illustrator on the iPad. But my constraint there is that I do everything only using the pencil tool in Illustrator, and then I'm starting with a black canvas with my sketch overlaid on top, and then I'm drawing in. I'm basically treating it like I'm drawing in basically where the light would be, kind of like carving a block print. So with that process, it's kind of giving me some kind of focus constraints on kind of how much detail and what types of lines I can actually achieve within that kind of kind of carving out essentially solid shapes out of it. And then moving from there, I'll move to Procreate again, where I'll utilize a more limited palette, which utilizing the color palettes from Garm Company, they're called Colorama color swatches, which is a massive library of limited colors. Has been a huge benefit because I can kind of pick a theme, but I'm limiting myself to I think it's like three or four kind of key colors within the palette. So trying to achieve what I'm trying to create within that limited palette is challenging, but also has allowed me to grow, and I think also has been a benefit to the work, just to keep it a little more tight and concise, and not muddying it with trying to throw way too much into the work.
So your constraints breed your creativity instead of feeling like you're limited.
Yeah, definitely. I think it pushes it further rather than kind of essentially becoming a mess.
So Neil, you recently just did 2 huge charity auctions for Ukraine. I think it was a total of like 230 SOL, if I remember right. I just wanted to check in with you, like how was that process? How did that feel, just seeing how successful that was, and why you did that?
So initially, the first piece that I put up for a charity auction, that wasn't even my intention. Initially, it was the piece Solus, and I was getting ready to launch that just for a regular auction on that Thursday, where everything kind of broke out between Russia and Ukraine, and I kind of initially I was looking at continuing with the auction, but kind of as it got closer, just in kind of seeing everything being posted about what was going on, I didn't really feel right about kind of promoting myself or my own work. So I kind of made the choice to put that auction on pause and kind of take a step back and think about what my plan was, what I was going to do, if I was just gonna hold on to that until a later date, or what I was going to do. But ultimately, I decided to start up at the auction again, but just donate 100% of the money that I made from that towards organizations helping with Ukraine. Just as with everything going on in the world, there's not a lot that I'm personally feel like I have the power to do that's really going to make much of a difference. But if I could utilize my artwork to help raise some money to give to others that are actually able to do some good with that, then I thought that was a good use of my skill sets. So I had put that first one up for auction, and then in the meantime, also a big group of the artists on Form Function were getting together to do a kind of collective charity auction for Ukraine. So then I threw my hat in the ring for that as well, and then created a piece specifically for that.
Yeah, it's been beautiful to see. I mean, the artwork you put out's been beautiful, and so is the response from the community. I think Lay Dow still has some charity auctions going for Ukraine right now. I believe they're still going, so people could check those out. But real quick, Neil, you've committed to this community. You've actually I saw you just moved your personal website to being all your NFT work, so that people can go and see what you've put and where the secondary market is, what it last sold for. So that's awesome. People should go check that out. What's coming next from you, man?
Right now, just working on more work with kind of exploring more of the theme of nature and technology, just continuing to build on that collection, and then also working on pieces on my side collection that I have that's kind of runs in parallel with that collection, which is kind of almost like just kind of building out almost like a props library of different like machines and robots and stuff that kind of play into the bigger universe that I'm creating. And then another piece that I'm really excited about that I don't know, Scotty, you cool with me announcing here?
Spill the beans, bro.
All right, so Scotty and I are working on a collab piece right now as well. I've shared an initial sketch of it just the other day of it's a robot and a kid kind of laying in the grass looking up towards the sky, and so Scotty and I are going to be tag teaming that, and really excited to dig into that and see what we can create together.
I love it. I wasn't even aware of that. That's awesome. Can't wait to see some more of that action.
Thank you.
Same. I haven't like collaborated with someone since like the early days of Instagram. That's pretty much all I used to do. So it's been a hot minute. It's going to be a lot of fun. Neil, if I could put you on the spot real quick, speaking towards one-on-one artists or anybody looking to like gain traction in this space, what are like your top, let's just shoot for like at least 3 tips that you would give someone, or speaking towards your past self, like looking back and connecting dots, what are like the 3 tips you would give someone? Be like, hey, start with this, this, and this if you want to find your groove in this space.
I mean, honestly, it would be just connect with the community, engage, listen, and just work on something. Don't work on something because you think it's gonna, follow a trend or gain traction. Just create work that you're excited to make, and I think that passion for your own work will translate to other people that connect with it as well.
Love it, man. That's awesome. Well, thanks, Neil, for coming on the show, man. The first show. Love everything you've done. Been watching since the first piece. People can check out. I've been pinning some of Neil's work up here, so you can scroll through some of that stuff. Check out his website. Make sure you're keeping an eye on him, because his work is just going off like crazy. It's awesome to see. So it's appreciate you coming on, man. I'm gonna go ahead and invite Nate on to speak. But thanks again, Neil.
Awesome. And in the meantime, can we give Neil a round of applause to just throw up a couple of those emojis for him? Really, really, really appreciate your time. And Neil, I just wanted to personally say in front of everyone, it's just fucking super stoked and proud of you. Like, I know where you grinded in the Web2 space, and it's just been incredible to see the traction you've gained over here, and then how many people specifically like me that you've helped and made so much time for me answering my questions as I just try to figure things out after feeling like an imposter in the beginning. I still do, but like, it's been extremely helpful, and I'm really, really grateful, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you both for having me on.
Thanks so much, Neil. Love to see what you're building, man.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for hanging in there, everyone. Love to see all the people that have jumped on. I'm inviting Nate up to speak. Nate Baker, if you don't know, is the DAO leader for Skeleton Crew. So he's going to be here to talk a little about Skeleton Crew, kind of an OG project that launched back beginning of October. And I'm a Skeleton Crew holder. You may know I put out a thread about it in the past. Scotty, the coach, doesn't know much about Skeleton Crew. We talked about it beforehand. So Nate, welcome. And let's hear about Skeleton Crew. By the way, people, when I was talking to Nate about this earlier, he said he's going to be cutting it close. He may have his small child with him. And so we welcome that. This is a family broadcast. If there's a little background noise, no worries there, my man. But yeah, Nate, welcome. And can you tell us a little bit about Skeleton Crew for those who don't know?
Yeah, all good. Morning, boys and girls. Glad to be here to share a little bit about Skeleton Crew. And before we get into it, I just want to say, Neil, your website is fire. I'm scrolling through it. This is pretty dope. But Skeleton Crew is basically, it's a community built, OG community from late September, early October. And basically it's a kind of a fusion of technology and art. So we have, it was founded by Cosmo and Io, and they, one did kind of the artist and the marketing, and one was the developer. And Cosmo basically built a treat toolbox open source software platform, and within our Discord, we have a whole thriving dev channel of different projects that had been using that over the last few months. And then AO was the artist who basically, drew all the skulls. And then kind of with, after this project was launched with that software, then over the last 3 or 4 months, we've launched a few other generative art collections for artists that are breaking into the Solana space. So our first one was the Xenoverse from Xeno back in November. And that's like a smaller 777 panel collection, each one individual across like 13 different biomes. And he's got a thriving Discord, and he's gone on to release some Monster Friends and just a few other collections. And he was one of the pioneers on form function. And he's just had a great career arc. Kind of after breaking through with a generative collection with us. Then we followed that up with Long Harbor, which was an Alejandro Mirabal project, kind of in conjunction with Nashitobi, who's done his own generative projects, but he was the writer. And together they built a comic book, and then they released those panels through the Treat Toolbox software. Is a mint we did in December. And then Alejandro followed that up in January with the Curse Mics launch. And, that we kind of took a unique kind of approach where, we built for the first time kind of in the Skeleton Crew ecosystem, a token. And, we're going live with staking probably in the next week or so. And we're going to, airdrop tokens to holders that have kind of held with us through that. And then we're going to basically use those tokens for the holders to redeem those to either to buy basically art that Alejandro will continue to produce into the project. And then also we'll be taking some of the royalties to commission guest art. And then we have on our website, art.cursemics.com, Alejandro's first piece, which is like a 50 edition that can only be bought with our curse token. So Alejandro has kind of those two projects he launched with a little bit of this utility that we're trying to deliver to our holders. And Curse Mics is also kind of a test net of sorts for Skeleton Crew. So Skeleton Crew just released staking and their own token, and so we kind of used Curse Mics sort of as a proving ground. So it's kind of nice that we have this bigger ecosystem where kind of each of these different little satellite points can work together sort of for the good of the whole. And then most recently, our most recent launch was Mars Dorian Dark Elf that launched about a week ago. And that's kind of a new budding community for Mars. And he's had a good career with an ETH and in Solana and on exchange art. He's done primarily one of ones. And, you know, he had a piece recently, I think, that went into the Big Brain Gallery. So all these artists are doing really well on their own in their one of one kind of careers, and then also through the generative side. So the roadmap really for Skeleton Crew is just to continue to do these artist launches with the network of artists that we have. We started to kind of built up. I kind of skipped over the whole beginning of the project in October. You know, that there was a whole series of airdrops, and all that art was commissioned through royalties from the Skeleton Crew project. And, you know, that's how we kind of started to build our network of artists that we know. And so we are kind of trying to work with some of those same artists and kind of contacts and things that they have for our building up, you know, future artist launches. So that's kind of the roadmap. So and so, you know, now we're just continuing to add utility with our token, you know, with providing whitelists for our mints, and also, you know, for buying, we're going to bring back the airdrops soon, and so, you know, we'll either commission art or probably use it through like a giveaway mechanism to start, you know, having art that people can redeem our tokens for. So, you know, lots of new development and lots of new art projects that are going to come online.
Yeah, I love it. And it's always cool to be in the Discord there, because you got so many like sub channels going that are not the main Skeleton Crew necessarily, like chat. It's like you've got different artist areas, channels for the artists that are they're doing these mints, and you've got the dev, like you mentioned, the dev channel. That's just, it's insane how much information is being shared to people that are looking to create bigger collections like this. You should definitely be checking out Skeleton Crew for just help and advice, and checking that out. So I was going to ask what on the staking, what's really going to be the main goal there in terms of utility for staking or burying skulls, if you can get into that a little.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're not familiar, up till now, there's sort of been a utility of getting whitelists for our artist launches. And the way that we did that was through an app that Cosimo built. Actually, the coolest whitelist app I've seen, where basically you could just connect your wallet, you could register, and then based on the number of skulls you had, it sort of boosted the chance that you could get a whitelist. Because we're launching these small generative collections that might be 1,000 or 1,500 items, and you know, there's 6,666 skulls. So you know, the demand was always kind of more than the supply, and so there was always a little bit of a randomness to it, a lottery aspect. And you know, if you only had one skull, you know, odds were kind of against you that you would be able to get a whitelist. Most recently with Mars, we used the Foxy token aftermarket to be able to buy and sell whitelists. So even if you didn't want to mint Mars, you could get the utility of winning the whitelist and selling those. And I think, you know, those were going for around like a quarter of a soul, if for those that got them. There's a pretty big range, but maybe that might have been the average. So rather than kind of continuing along that path, a token is just, it's kind of a more straightforward mechanism to sort of deal with all this. So you just stake your skulls, you get tokens, and then we'll kind of set the threshold, and then you basically just you can only buy whitelists with the token. And then additionally, if there's any other kind of utility that we want to provide our holders, then you can use the token for that same mechanism, so that even somebody with one skull can over time save up enough to get the whitelist. And so if the next artist launch, if they're not necessarily interested in that one, they just continue to keep accruing the token until either there's an artist launch that they want, or maybe there's an airdrop that they want to buy. And so kind of on that next note, that's going to be kind of the second main utility of the token is we'll do these giveaways to try to grow our artist network. We've got some generous holders with large amounts of skulls that are willing to kind of donate those to try to onboard new artists into our community. And so, we'll do outreach into different chains, new upcoming artists, or even artists that are already on Solana, maybe that aren't a part of our community. We'll do giveaways to try to bring them in, and then in return, they'll create a piece that we'll basically do like a fixed price auction on our website, most likely. Still kind of in development, but that's the general concept. And then so then users can take the skulls, the skull token that they've accrued, and redeem them for art as well. And then we'll just add that we have a whole secondary collection on Magic Eden called Skeleton Crew Airdrops and More, from all the October airdrops. There's I think a couple hundred completely different pieces, and many of those are 30, 50, 100 editions. So I don't know, there's probably 5,000, 10,000 total NFTs that could be listed onto that marketplace from those different airdrops. And so all these new ones that would be basically purchased with Skull could then also be resold on that aftermarket in Sol. So those are the two main utilities, and there's a few other ideas we have as well. But
I like it. It's nice too, because it was before, like, you had to have 5 skulls, and then people were buying them and selling them, right? Pumping and dumping them right around launches. So I think this is a healthier way to go about it. But I've been lobbing you softballs, Scotty. What do you got for Nate? Since you're not as familiar with Skeleton Crew as I am.
So what's up, Nate? Pleasure to officially meet you, man. And I learned a lot through Ronin's threads, and then his last thread, which led me to all of your threads. And so then I got lost in a thread of another thread of a rabbit hole of threads. So I've been doing my research pretty heavily this morning. But first off, I kind of want to know, there's so much negative sentiment, FUD, Solana doubters, and everything going on right now. People just haven't been through bear markets in crypto, and now experiencing NFT bear markets throughout like the last 6-12 months. How do you and your crew avoid the noise and just stay committed and passionate, even though it seems like the fucking world is falling at times in people's minds and perceptions?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I joined the DAO. We Skeleton Crew started the DAO in like mid-November. We did an on-chain vote through squads, and then myself, Korzai, Fried Ghost, IO Cosmo, BKR, and most recently Aaron joined. But we did the whole squads voting. But when I came in, it was kind of after that initial hype cycle of October, and then everybody's like, okay, what now? This is like Skeleton. It was cool because it was Halloween. Now that's over, and then, oh, the airdrops are done. Now, now what are you going to do? And it's just like, it wasn't right away when I jumped in, but probably within like the first 2 weeks. I mean, it was like a firefighter in like the forest fire. I mean, it was just like, I mean, there was a good mix. There were still like a lot of devs, a lot of people that were really behind this project, and they had a good long-term vision of bringing art onto Solana and the long-term value of that. But it just a couple haters really can sour a Discord. And I mean, we still get the occasional flyby of somebody who just pops in just to take a dump in Discord and just spread some negative energy. But yeah, it is kind of a challenge, to try to keep everybody happy. But I mean, fundamentally, I think it's a strong concept. I mean, art never goes away. Art, people always want beauty. People always want something to inspire them, to take them to the next level, to rally around. And so people that believe that, they're not necessarily looking at the individual fluctuations in the price. They believe, the niche that we're trying to carve out is somebody that kind of bridges technology and art, and deliver, value to people at sort of kind of a more affordable price point than some of the one-on-ones that are out there. I mean, now, like with Zeno, it's almost impossible to get a one-on-one unless you've been around for a while or you've got a pretty good bankroll. So, grabbing a panel from the Xenoverse, you get some of his art at a pretty affordable price point. So, and across all the collections, I mean, everything is just different. You can be, for me, it kind of harkens back to like baseball card collecting days and just sort of collecting or Pokemon for other people. And so I don't know, there's always going to be haters, and, if it's not always going up, there's always somebody that's there, but you just kind of explain the value. And if you have a solid community, then everybody else kind of rallies around it together.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, the more I keep hearing and learning about y'all, it's like, damn, I got to go get myself a skeleton I can go start burying. But I really appreciate what you're doing to bridge that gap of tech and art and kind of push this space forward and giving people like me a chance to make moves, when it feels like such an outsider at sometimes, or an imposter. So yeah, that means a lot. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I love it. And I love that, you're bringing people's art to kind of the medium that has been mass adopted in NFTs, is the PFP, and you're bringing people's art to that. You hear maybe some artists don't love doing the PFPs or whatever, but I think it's just a cool way to reach people right now. And maybe it'll change in the future, but the main collections, getting artists a chance to make money off of that, launching them into the scene so that they can then go on to do regular one-of-one art or whatever they want to do. I think it's an awesome thing. So I appreciate that. Nate, one other thing I just wanted to ask, I know we're kind of running late on time. Who's next? Can you give any sneak peeks, or what's next for Skeleton Crew on the horizon here?
Spill the beans.
Well, we don't have any launch officially penciled in on the calendar yet, but
what about unofficially?
James Johnson has been tweeting out his skullduggery project that he's working on that looks really cool. And to be honest, I don't even think we've fully got the skinny on what he's got in mind. I mean, he said teased something to the effect that it's going to be like a 1.5 PFP. So I don't know what that means, but it's going to be cool. And because his work is fire, and one cool thing that we've gone through is basically each of these artists kind of operates a little bit differently. So, it allows us, working with them, to sort of improve our software for the Treat Toolbox Pro. And so we've kind of incorporated new things with each successful launch. But He's one that will be coming at some point. Fried Ghost, he's on our DAO leadership team, but he's also employed with Holoplex. He's done a lot of outreach, and there's a lot of artists throughout the world that are interested, but it takes a ton of time, much more difficult to launch a generative project than a one-on-one. So a lot of them are sort of interested and working on it, but we're not going to launch it until we're kind of like close to the home stretch. So on the artist launches, there'll be something fairly soon that'll be ready. And then other than that, we have some developments just for the community with staking and now tokens. And then we'll work on probably setting up a market and potentially even some LP there. We got to kind of just think through it all. But yeah, so there's always kind of new things that'll be coming either on the dev side or on the art side. And probably soon, within the next week, we're going to announce our Solana Academy, which is sort of this giveaway concept that I've been talking about, just to recruit more artists and some patrons to bring that about.
I love it. Thanks so much for sharing about Skeleton Crew. And if you're an artist out there listening in on this, and you want to maybe launch yourself into Solana NFTs, maybe you should get a hold of Nate and Skeleton Crew and see if there's something they could put together for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So please check out Skeleton Crew. Check out what they're doing. I've been huge on Skeleton Crew, just basically on the vibes and on the idea of the tech and art. Let's not forget that the tool treat box treat toolbox, whichever one it's called, the pro, that actually brings money into the DAO too when people sign up for that, and that gives all kinds of tools to generative collection creators. So it is that awesome marriage, like you said, of art and tech, and I definitely love Skeleton Crew as well. So really appreciate coming in and sharing all that, and it was great meeting you and getting to actually talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the invitation. Happy to do it anytime.
Thanks, Nate.
Great. Hey, so thanks everyone. I think we hit it a little over 45 minutes, so it was a little longer than we were trying to go for. I appreciate you all being here. We're going to be back next week with another one of these, and Scotty and I have talked about we want to commit to doing this like all year round. We want to be here for the ecosystem and for y'all to meet new awesome people building things.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And yeah, please, if you haven't followed them yet, please go check out Neil, go check out Nate's account, and show some love to Skeleton Crew. I'm like searching on Magic Eden right now. I'm about to swoop a skull or two.
Let's do it. I love it. And yeah, I know. Sorry, there was one or two people who requested to speak. The current format isn't really a Q&A session. We could talk about in the future, maybe like after the regular show, doing a Q&A for the people that are live to kind of promote that.
That'd be a good idea for sure.
Yeah. I just didn't want to throw that on to our guests last minute. So I appreciate you. If you requested it, I'm sorry. But I appreciate everybody being here, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all. Have a great day.
All right. Much love.
Drink
Bye,
water.
guys.
Bye.